Well, hello and welcome back, everybody. It is the last week of February in 2026. Can you believe that we are already done with the first 2 months of this new year? Here we are at another SC1 Factory team call that we have every Tuesday, where we're helping you build your dreams, and together we're making a difference in changing lives. So every single week on Tuesday, we have our weekly Zoom team call. We do upload the recordings to the Team Freedom Range YouTube channel. You can subscribe using the QR code on this screen, as well as ring the bell so you get notifications every time that we go live. It's the same Zoom and passcode every single Tuesday. The only difference that's going to be coming up here shortly is, go back one, new call time. Due to Dondee's work schedule, the changing of the clocks, because all y'all are a little crazy and you still change your clocks. Dondee works until 7 p.m. Mountain Time, as well as my school schedule. We are going to be changing the time of these SC1 Factory team calls to 8 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Central, and 11 a.m. Eastern. Still on Tuesdays. We're just shifting from the nighttime to the morning. So hopefully you'll still be able to join us live, or you'll always be able to catch the recordings on the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel. Now, because we are in the last week of the month, we've got the closing the month call with an amazing executive. Lacey Nielsen is going to be the presenter for this end of the month call. I'm sure she'll have some amazing training for you. She actually just got done being on the Activation Nation podcast. Really great episode. You should go and listen to it. The Zoom information for this call, which is on the 25th at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. She will also, but the Zoom and the password are right here on the screen, but she will also be going over reports you can run, things that you should be paying attention to. And specifically, you want to make sure that you're checking to make sure that your subscription has processed properly, and that your personally enrolled customers and consultants subscriptions have processed, because we would hate for people not to get their activation products, right? Not to mention, subscriptions are the lifeblood of your business. And then you also want to be checking to see who's next to that next rank, who's close to that next rank, who's within striking distance, who's pushing hard, who's enrolling people, who's working in their business that you can support to help them close out February strong, as well as who is close to the next seller level. We want to make sure that everybody that is close earns those extra percentages for sharing our amazing products. And of course, we want to make sure that if there is anyone that has seen the information that might be on the fence that just needs to see a little bit more, maybe have a conversation, get their questions answered, that we help them all make a decision before the month closes out. So make sure that you hop on this closing the month leadership Zoom. Basically, it's with an executive presenter every single month on the 25th of the month, or the next business day to the 25th. This coming Thursday and every Thursday night, Dondee and I do a live opportunity presentation where we help people understand how they can start their own micro franchise. We're going to be learning all about the micro franchises in tonight's call, because that is the topic. We want to help you understand the cash flow quadrants, as well as what a micro franchise is and how LifeVantage fits into that business form. Okay, so this truly is the right vehicle for all your goals. And we want to make sure that your prospects have the opportunity to take a look at it and get the total picture. So the Zoom ID and the passcode are the same every single week. Take a screenshot of this. And, it's open to Crossline. It's open to anyone that's part of LifeVantage that wants to invite people to an opportunity presentation on Thursday nights. The time is 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So invite, and we hope to see you all on that opportunity presentation. Now, since we're almost done with February, we're getting super close to Momentum Academy that is in April. We're going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada for our next in-person event. It's at these events that breakthroughs happen, but belief is built. Seriously, belief in this industry, belief in our company, belief in our products and science, belief in the corporate executives, belief in the leadership of the field, belief in yourself, because you'll see people on the stage that you'll hear their story and you'll be like, oh my gosh, if they can do this, I can absolutely build this business. And you'll quit dragging your feet and get to work, right? Well, there's going to be 3 general sessions. And as part of the first general session, there is going to be an amazing keynote speaker with some pretty interesting activities. So make sure that you are there, that you're super excited and ready and pumped up for that first session. But then there will also be 2 additional general sessions, workshops where you will get training specific to the level that your business is at now, or the level to where you're getting ready to achieve, right? What you need to do to move forward. There's going to be the LV social gathering. Always have an amazing time. DJ Rancan, dancing, loud music. It's always a great time. So make sure that you're there. Team gatherings, and then again, the belief building. But you can register through the QR code that is here on the screen. So please make sure that you get registered, and let us know in the comments that you're registered, that you've got your flight, that you've got your hotel, all the things that are essential for you to have your breakthrough in Las Vegas in April at Momentum Academy. Okay, so here we are coming up on the topic of tonight's call. Super excited for this because Dondee and I had the opportunity. We were invited to be the guest presenters on Saturday's Activate Academy, and we went into depth on these 2 things in specific, talking about the cash flow quadrant and your LifeVantage micro franchise, explaining the difference between a franchise and a micro franchise. And guys, it was amazing. If you want to see the full recording of that training, make sure that you go to our Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel, and there is a playlist that has the full recording from Saturday's training, as well as the training broken down into training segments that we did. So it's all underneath the Activate Academy. So go and find that playlist on the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel. But tonight's call is all about the cash flow quadrant and your LifeVantage micro franchise. And Dr. Dondee, I see that you have joined us. So welcome to the call. I don't know if you've got something you want to say on this call, or if you're ready for me to move to the next slide.
Go ahead, Marci. I'm excited. Ready.
Woohoo! Let's go.
Awesome. So if you are not familiar with the concept of cash flow quadrant, it is, I would call it the follow-up book to Robert Kiyosaki's best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the 3rd highest selling grossing book of all time, behind this is, well, at least according to what he says, according to the Bible, and what was the other one? I forget what it was, but anyway, it had to do with sex. Just to put it that way. So, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Well, the cash flow quadrant is the follow-up, the joy of sex. That's what it was called. The cash flow quadrant. So, in the concept of this book, the way he describes it is there's 4 ways that you can make money, or 4 types of ways that people make money. The first is employee. You have an employee, you're a W-2 employee in this, so if you're looking at this as a quadrant, the left side of the quadrant, the employees and the self-employed directly below it, make up 95% of the workforce. But they only make 5% of the money. So 95% of the workforce, and they make 5% of the money. Well, in the employee, you have a job. But what you have is you're trading time for dollars. So whatever your hourly rate is, times however many hours you work, that's how much money you get paid. There's no leverage in that. So the difference is what the employees will try to do is become self-employed. In other words, start a small business. So the S can be self-employed. It can also mean small business, and it can also mean specialist. So when I was a chiropractor in my practice, I was in the S quadrant. I was self-employed. I had 5 staff. I was a specialist in the way I handled it as far as the overall chiropractic profession. I corrected posture. So biophysics was my technique. And so I was a specialist, but I was also a small business owner. And so I worked more time, and I also had more leverage. So if I work 8 hours, a typical employee works 8 hours. A typical self-employed person works a lot more than that, because they're the first one to show up, they're the last one to leave, and they're the last one to get paid. But what I did have is 5 employees. So if my 5 employees are putting in 8-hour days, that's 40 hours plus, let's just say, my 10. So every day we were getting 50 hours of man hours worked versus an 8-hour shift making 8 hours. That's where a little bit of, it's not leverage. I'm just making more time and I'm actually making more money, but I have very little leverage. And so I did not know that I had an S quadrant business. In fact, I thought I was a business owner. This was before it was further differentiated into small business for S and B, big business. So I thought I was a business owner, and I was a business owner, but I was creating no leverage. And how I found out one time is right after I read this book, I went to my first quote unquote network marketing meeting. It wasn't the company I ended up joining, which is obviously LifeVantage, but I said, I'm in the B quadrant because he talked about this book. And he says, really? He says, okay, here's how you know if you're in the B quadrant or you're in the S quadrant as a business owner. If you close your doors of your business and you lock them and you go away, and your business is not, nobody's running your business, and you come back after a month, did your business grow or did your business shrink? And did your income increase or did your income decrease? And I said, well, if I close my doors for a month, I'm the only doctor, my business would go down and my business would have less money. He says, that's how you know you're an S quadrant business, because in the B quadrant, you have leverage. They don't require you to be there. Your business grows without your presence. And I was like, concept. I knew I had to be business. Well, guess what? On the right side of the quadrant, as a big business owner in the B quadrant or an investor in the I quadrant, the only way or the easiest way for the average person who doesn't care to go get a PhD or go to college at all, the people on the E and the S quadrant, the easiest way for them to get into the B quadrant is, guess what? Small business from a micro franchise, and specifically with our LifeVantage opportunities. And this is even further conceptually amazing for people who don't understand quite yet the power of the cash flow quadrant. Well, what is it? On the right side of the cash flow quadrant, it makes up 5% of the population, 5% in the B and the I combined, but they make 95% of the income because they have leverage. Money works for them as opposed to them working for money. I heard it said one time and I think it was from Warren Buffett, until you learn how to make money while you sleep, you will always be broke. And so that's what a business owner, a big business owner on the B quadrant and an investor in the I quadrant, money works for them. They make money when they're sleeping. And guess what? You can do that right here with your LifeVantage business. So if anything you want to add, Marci, please feel free.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know that, on the left-hand side there, that E and S, I mean, obviously when I was a police officer, I was in the E quadrant, right? I was there as an employee, and if I needed more money, I had to give more time. And most of the time what happened is I had to give more time because they needed more of my time. And so I wasn't in control of my time at all. And I desired to be able to spend my time in a different place than on the job, right? And so when I had to be present, as Dondee was saying, constantly in order for that money to be coming in, it was exhausting and my relationships really suffered. And when I learned about this cash flow quadrant and I learned about LifeVantage and how a micro franchise with LifeVantage, which we're going to learn about here in just a moment, was the only way that someone normal like me would be able to get over to the right side of the quadrant, I was like, okay, why would I say no? If that is the direction that I could get where I wanted to be, why would I say no? It absolutely would have not made any sense for me to say no. It is the only option for normal people like me to be able to move from that left side where I have to work and give my most valuable asset, $4, to be able to pay for me to live, to be able to get to the other side to where I could use the leverage and I could put my money to work for me instead of the other way around. So this is so powerful. It's such a powerful concept. Once you grasp it and once you can stand on that platform with that posture, that what we have to offer is the only thing that will allow most people to be able to move from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant, and you share it with that posture, why would people say no? That's just my question.
Exactly.
So let's
Yep.
explain the difference between regular franchises versus the LifeVantage micro franchise. You want to start with the franchise side?
Yeah. So the franchise, these numbers is the average of the 10 most popular franchises that people join, including McDonald's. And so there's Subway, there's other restaurants, there's clothing ones. So the average cost of a franchise initial investment is between 250 and 2.5 million dollars. So if you got that laying around, then you can become a franchise owner. And then the franchise fee to get to actually initial investment plus the franchise fee to secure the franchise is between 20 and 40,000 additional dollars. And then the average monthly cost is about 7,500 plus. And the payroll is about $30,000 per month. The initial and ongoing cost is all the costs associated with opening and closing of a franchise. They're all different. But the leveraged income potential, meaning after all the bills are paid, what leverage you actually have from owning one franchise is between $150,000 and $500,000 per year, depending upon the franchise. But before you raise your eyebrows and think that sounds pretty exciting, I want to remind you of something. The person who owns the franchise is the first person to show up, the last person to leave, the first person to get called during a crisis, and they're the last person to get paid. And so the 9 to 5 is out the window for a franchise owner. It is like 20 sometimes hour days. And like when in my small business, and I didn't even own a franchise, it was 80 to 90 hours a week in my practice because I was the owner and I had to get everything done. So that's what you can expect on the franchise side, where if you look at it and go, well, I'd like to make more money than that, and that's annual income. And so the way, when you are a franchise owner, how do you acquire more leverage? Because there's only 24 hours in a day and there's only so many people you can hire per franchise. Well, the answer, buy another franchise. So just take those numbers and multiply it times 2 for 2 franchises, times 3 for 3 franchises, and you start to double and triple the annual income until you get to the level that you would like to make. Well, there is some leverage in a franchise, and it's why it is the most appealing as opposed to starting your own business, getting a small business loan, negotiating a lease, finding a building, paying for the build out in your own brick and mortar building, and then doing everything on your own, doing all the marketing, all the test marketing, all the hiring and all of that stuff. Whereas a franchise, it does it all for you. That's the appeal of a franchise. You're buying the system with the franchise, but it also comes with all of that cost versus the micro franchise, which Marci can share with you the difference in the costs, but the difference in the income, the leveraged income in a micro franchise is so much greater and more predictable.
Yeah, and if you just go and check out our income disclosure statement, right, that is what the potential is, and that's on a monthly basis. And we have people making on a monthly basis what the potential income is on a yearly basis for regular franchise owners. It's really interesting because I've dove a little bit into the costs that McDonald's franchisees have. So McDonald's, they sell franchises. The franchisee, the person that purchases them, has to build the building and pay for the building, yet McDonald's owns the land. And so the franchisee owner actually has to pay for the land to McDonald's, even though they are still responsible for the property taxes, as well as all of the overhead that's required for that franchise. And that includes employees. Remember those employees? Dondee mentioned that the franchisee owner is the first one there and the first one or the last one that leaves. And if your employees don't show up or aren't very good, you're having to replace them, you have to spend even more time in there. Where with a LifeVantage micro franchise, it's so different. So on this, and by the way, if you have the money to start a McDonald's franchise, please raise your hand. I want to be your bestie, right? But there's not very many people that can do that. Well, with a LifeVantage micro franchise, the initial investment is up to $999. That's the amount of our largest pack, right? So people could get started with an international micro franchise for $250. Now the franchise fee, $50 per year. That covers your marketing. It covers your replicated website, your back office. The app, it covers your ability to make commissions and to get paid paychecks, right? It covers, let's see, what all does LifeVantage do for us? Well, first of all, we don't have to have overhead, right? We don't have to have overhead. We don't do the research and development. LifeVantage does that. They do the production of the products they decide and determine are appropriate for our product line. And they do the manufacturing within the best standards possible. They do all of the order taking online through our websites. All taxation is taken care of. They do the packaging. They do the shipping. And they pay us commissions, guys, every single month. So Dondee has been part of LifeVantage since 2009. I've been part of LifeVantage for almost 15 years. In March, it'll be 15 years for me. And every single month, not only have I been paid, but it's been real money that has come into my pocket. It has been real. On top of all of that, LifeVantage provides the legal department for us, all of the events and training, the hub and boards for the assets that we use on social media or in sharing with our prospects, the incentives and the promotions. How about the recognition? LifeVantage does all of this. You don't have to do that, right? You get to just participate in this micro franchise that you purchased into for less than $1,000. You have a $50 per year franchise fee, and the average monthly costs are your product usage. On average, it's about $140, depending on what you're using. For us at our house, it's like 5 times that, but that's because we know the value of these products and the benefits that we're getting from them. And we know the investment into our wellness is always less expensive than having to have that outlay of finances when you have to respond to a problem. So we are most definitely ahead of that in our orders. Now, employees, you have none other than yourself. You have to keep yourself on track. And so that means you don't have to worry about payroll. The initial and ongoing costs, your initial investment is that less than $1,000, and then your product usage each month, and then the $50 franchise fee every single year. But it's only one time a year, and it's only $50. And your leveraged income potential is unlimited. Unlimited. It's completely performance-based. You get to determine what your value is by how much effort you put in, and there's no guarantees of income, yet we have the income disclosure statement that can show you what is possible. Now, the one thing that both have in common and why most people will purchase a franchise is because what they're really purchasing is the system for success, right? And yet here with LifeVantage, in our micro franchise for under $1,000, you are also purchasing a system that is proven. The only thing that is the variable is the franchise owner, meaning you. Now, the way that you leverage your micro franchise, how do you make more money with your micro franchise compared to purchasing another franchise and outlaying all of that money? You go out and you find someone that wants to start their own micro franchise. And in enrolling a new micro franchise consultant, that is where you create leverage. And that is where you can level up your business. And every time you want to make more money, go and enroll new people, right? So super excited about this concept and being able to present this to people that haven't heard it before. Even people that you've talked to for a long time, that they just never got the opportunity is with LifeVantage, being a consultant and selling products, right? Selling products, is important and it's part of what we do. Yet when you present it to someone as that is what the business opportunity is, people don't want to spend the time doing that. Yet if we talk about leverage or we talk about micro franchises, it opens up their mindset to a whole different ball game when it comes to building a business with us, with LifeVantage, partnered with a publicly traded company that's been paying global commission since 2009. This is where it is at, and it is the best opportunity out there. So we want to run through, Dondee, before we go through these slides, did you want to share anything else on those 2 concepts?
No, Marci, you hit it all.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to run through quickly the PowerPoint presentation that we're going to be using starting this Thursday and all of the presentations that we're doing moving forward. We're going to keep this as a uniform presentation so that everybody knows what to expect, and everyone can know that they're going to be seeing everything that is part of this opportunity. So why is LifeVantage different? On top of that micro franchising opportunity, we are the only activation company in the world. Now, I am not going to be doing a presentation. I am just going to be showing you the slides. And so I'll be pretty quick going through these. So obviously, proper disclosures. We will be explaining that cash flow quadrant and keying up the presentation by helping them understand that through this opportunity as a micro franchise owner, they can have the opportunity to move from the left side to the right side of the cash flow quadrant. Now, Peter Drucker explained really well that every successful business, because when we're talking about moving from the left side to the right side, it's not with just any business, right? It has to be a business that is set up for success. And Peter Drucker helped us understand what to look for in the 6 components of a successful business. And that's the company, the products, timing, trends, compensation, and the system. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the company and tell the LifeVantage story and why people should get involved with LifeVantage now. Part of that story is the ABC Primetime Investigative Report. And we do share the short 3-minute ABC Primetime Investigative Report because that's really what put us on the map first and showed us really how important and what people really wanted was with that ABC Primetime. Following is an ABC. We're not going to watch that. Then we move directly into a continuation of the LifeVantage story. This is just kind of a little synopsis of what they saw in that ABC Primetime and going directly into an introduction to our LifeVantage approach with our products in the supplementation versus activation story and helping them understand the difference and the magnitude that activation presents. With the validation of all of our research and patents. And then after we talk about Protandem NRF2, that's our foundation, right? That is the product beginnings and our product or our company story. We started with Protandem NRF2. And so then we bring in, what else do we activate? We activate with the Tri-Synergizer, the antioxidant enzymes, mitochondria and DNA, collagen, our GLP-1 hormone, Axio is brain chemistry, and then P84 our gut peptides, showing a slide with the rest of our product catalog and helping them understand that they have access to all of these products with their micro franchise. Then, of course, we're going to cover timing and the growth potential, starting out with helping to explain what it takes to have a great opportunity, what momentum is, and when it's too late, explaining to them where we are in this growth cycle and sharing the trends that never before has there been more people looking for sustainable income streams and ways that they can be empowered in their own wellness. And then we move into the activation of our compensation plan, the Evolve and Earn compensation plan, where you can make money for customers, building a team, developing leaders, and what the company has already done in the global profit shares, sharing the income disclosure statement, how you get started, sharing the low end pack, as well as the business pack and what comes with them, making sure that they understand that the lifeblood of a business and the lifeblood of continued wellness is a subscription with a stack for best results and best pricing. And then the system information, micro franchise system and support, a full list. And I am sure there is many more things that we could include here. Yet this is enough to really grab attention and help people understand that they will have the system and support for success and that we will help them build their business. And then we've returned this slide into the deck to talk about the 501c3, the legacy aspect of being part of something bigger than ourselves that serves communities around the world. And then that is the end of the opportunity presentation that we are going to be utilizing starting this Thursday. It's available to everyone. If you are not part of Team Freedom Reigns, please reach out to us. We're happy to share it with you. And again, we want to personally invite you to this coming Thursday night's opportunity presentation on Zoom. It is at 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, and 7 p.m. Eastern. It's all about learning how you can start your own micro franchise with LifeVantage, leveraging activation and how the body was designed to work in healing itself. So guys, we hope that you got a lot out of this opportunity, or this opportunity presentation. It really was, that this team call tonight, and really learning the difference between a franchise and a micro franchise, and how it fits perfectly into being the solution on helping people that are stuck over there in the E and the S side of the quadrant to help them move over to the B side, that right side of the cash flow quadrant. Because guess what? Every single one of us is worthy of success, abundance, and to be able to take something to the world to benefit others as well. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We appreciate every single one of you.